Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Flighty. I got another video for you today. I'm going to be talking about guys that I think had a good 2024 season, but I don't think they're going to keep up that success in 2025. I'm going to get into the reasons why, but first, there was some criteria when I was picking. I wanted them to be not rookies, maybe rookies, but at least have like less than a full season under their belt. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say negative things about these players. I hope that they prove me wrong. I hope that they go out and exceed expectations, perform even better than they did this past season. I'm going to show you some numbers, tell you why they're not good, and then you can make your own judgments. Thank you guys again. This is my second video. I know things are still getting worked out. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. Let me know if I got anything wrong, and let's get into it. I'm going to start with my honorable mentions. As I stated earlier, there was a little bit of criteria, but I wasn't too selective. These guys just happened to not fall into what I was looking for. First up is Ezequiel Tovar. He has got to work on his strikeout rate, his walk rate. He wasn't specifically included because this wasn't his rookie season. He did already have a full rookie season before this, where he looked all right. The guy's a great defender. He's got some speed. I'm sure Coors is helping him a little bit. The next guy, Lawrence Butler, something about him, I just don't fully trust it. His numbers look fine. His expected numbers look fine. I hope he's good. Hope he has a great season. People are already saying he's like a breakout candidate, even though he had a great year last year. So I'm just a little skeptical. There's really no basis to that. All right, so my first real prediction for a 2025 fall off is going to be Tyler Fitzgerald of the San Francisco Giants. Fitzgerald had a pretty good rookie season, but if you dive a little bit deeper into the numbers, everything that's there isn't great. So what specifically did I see in Tyler Fitzgerald that drew me to pick him? Well, he had the highest difference between his WOBA and his ex-WOBA of any other player with at least 250 plate appearances. Spoiler alert, we'll get to the guy who was number 2 in a little bit. No, expected statistics are not everything, but when a difference is so severe, you want to take a look and see, well, how was the hard contact? Where does he hit the ball? Does he hit the ball on the ground a lot? The best stat is the one that fits your narrative, but you still need to look at everything as a whole. If you're asking yourself, what's WOBA? The short answer is that it's kind of like on base percentage, except it factors in specifically how you reached base instead of just saying you got on base. So a single is different than a double, which is different than a triple, which is different than a home run, and even a walk versus a hit by pitch. They're all weighed differently. A lot of guys can outperform their expected numbers, but what else does he not do well? Well, he strikes out 31% of the time. He also doesn't walk a lot, only 6.5% of the time. The barrel rate is also about average, 8.2% of the time, and a lot of that's just from not hitting the ball that hard very often, only 31.9% of the time. Also weird, he had a lot of infield hits, which I could just see those disappearing if the sprint speed takes even a slight step back. So if the bat slows down for Tyler Fitzgerald, where is he able to help? Well, one way has to be the base paths. He was in the 100th percentile in sprint speed last year at 30 feet per second. He also played a few different defensive positions last year, albeit none of them were that good, so if somebody needs to take a day, you can plug him in anywhere. Fangraphs is projecting him to be the Giants' second baseman, so we'll see how that goes. He did not play a very good short last year, a lot of errors. So we talked about one guy, Tyler Fitzgerald, might take a step back. I got a pitcher for you next. Probably a name you would know, had a really weird season, and that's going to be Ronel Blanco. So Ronel Blanco, not technically a rookie last season, but it was his first real big league time. 167 innings pitched last year, only had 52 in 2023 and 6 in 2022. And what we've seen from Blanco was really, really good. But the FIP and the expected ERA are where I start to lose him a little bit. He had a 2.8 ERA, fourth lowest in baseball among qualified pitchers. But the expected ERA was at a 4, and the FIP was at a 4.15. That is one of the largest differences among pitchers between their ERA and their expected ERA, and their xERA is basically xWOBA put into the ERA scale. So it's based on the quality of contact that they're giving up. And again, WOBA, xWOBA is not everything. So what else did I not like? He had the highest left on base percentage among qualified starting pitchers at 83.6%. So if somebody got on, he was not letting them score, and you just have to wonder how repeatable is that. He also doesn't have the best per nines, 8.93 strikeouts to 3.66 walks, and he gave up a decent amount of home runs, and honestly probably should have given up even more. I think the biggest thing that scares me is he doesn't have a great fastball. He has an absolutely amazing slider, but the fastball is just okay, below average, and the fastball specifically way overperformed its expected numbers. I think of the 3 guys on this list, I want to see Ronel Blanco succeed the most. The guy signed when he was 22 as an international free agent. You just don't see people do that. He had a crazy late debut in the majors, and last year he threw a no-hitter, and then a few weeks later got suspended for sticky stuff. Houston needed starting pitching, he stepped up. Fangraphs has him as their number 3 this year. We'll see if he can keep it up. I really hope so. Where do I think Ronel Blanco could help? Every team needs guys that just eat innings. I don't know if his stuff necessarily will play out of the bullpen, but if he can give them that 4 ERA and give them another 167 innings, I think that's fine. Every team would take that. Last little bit about him, I think it is absolutely criminal that he did not get a single Cy Young vote in the American League. I have one more hitter for you to wrap up who I think is going to take a step back in 2025. If you remember earlier, I said this guy had the second highest difference between his WOBA and his ex-WOBA, and it is going to be Xavier Edwards of the Miami Marlins. Edwards might have had the craziest season of any of these guys. All the way back in spring training, he went on the IL for a left foot infection, which is just that's so weird. What? So he didn't end up making his 2024 debut until June 7th. And then he was only up for 3 games, got sent back down, and didn't get called back up until July 2nd. And in the 70 games that Edwards would play, he would hit for the cycle. He'd have a 3 triple game. Edwards had 1 home run last year. It was the first home run of his career. He became the first player to hit for the cycle and hit his first home run in the same game since Fred Lewis in 2007. So he hit 328, had a 397 on base, a 423 slug for an 820 OPS. He was also pretty good on the bases, 31 stolen bases, only 4 caught stealing. Guys who aren't that fast but still manage to steal bases are also just a little interesting to me. I mean, Acuna did it. He's not the fastest guy, but base stealing is somewhat of an art. And then it's the same with Edwards. He's 78th percentile in sprint speed, so he's still pretty fast, but he's not like Tyler Fitzgerald fast. So I already mentioned the difference in the xWOBA, which scared me. The other thing that was a little concerning was his BABIP. So that's batting average on balls in play. It's basically what it sounds like. How many balls that you hit that resulted in an outcome actually fell for hits. Typically, this is going to be around 300. That's about league average. Xavier Edwards was 398. That was the highest in baseball among players with 250 plate appearances, and call back to Tyler Fitzgerald, his was 380. So you would most likely think that that is an unsustainable mark. Again, there are players who just because of how they hit have a high BABIP, but you don't always know if that's the case, especially when it's players like first real season. There might be a little bit more to like with Edwards than with Tyler Fitzgerald. Edwards struck out not a lot, 17.2%. He also walked a lot, 10.9%. He squared up the ball, better chase, didn't really whiff, but the expected batting average was 252. He doesn't swing hard, but he doesn't hit the ball hard. We've seen that work. Luis Ariz has done that. Stephen Kwan did it basically up until this year somehow. And if he's just a speedy, knock it around, get on the bases type guy, that can be a valuable player, especially if the defense improves like at all. Fangraphs is projecting him to hit leadoff for the Marlins and play shortstop. I don't know how well that's going to go. He had a lot of errors last year. The defense was not good at all. You want your shortstop to be pretty strong. I think there's somewhat of a chance he gets moved to second this season. Yeah, guys, I think that's it. 3 guys that I do not think will be just as good as they were in 2024 in 2025. I hope they each prove me wrong. Players can always change. Any of those numbers can increase. It's basically these guys got like way too lucky, and you just can't bet on that. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me who I got wrong, who I got right. Tell me who you think is either going to break out. I might do a video on those later. Tell me who you think is going to take a step back. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Let me know anything else that you would like me to talk about. I am still learning with this, just the second video, so please tell me what I need to work on. Tell me what you think. Thank you guys all so much. I'll see you next time.